MotoGP, NASCAR, Formula One, debriefing you with their top engineers in the world because you are a $1 million racer. Wouldn't that be nice?
It's easy to take this thing around the track. Record your sessions, get your times, but improving those times is proving to be difficult. So how do you do it? Do you just try harder? Because I'm at max effort, and the diminishing returns of that tactic are making me rethink how to get faster.
Starting up the computer and the programs, I'm still new when it comes to data logging. I'm unable to get engine diagnostics, RPMs, and whatnot, but my AIM Solo 2 allows me to get GPS, speed, time, and plugging it into the computer, it's still kind of a learning curve. I have to color code which bikes are which, my Ducati versus my R1 versus my buddy Ben, who I met at the racetrack, who sent over his files. I had no idea you could even do that, but he sent them over to me in a link via Facebook, and it used WeTransfer.com. Had no idea this is a thing, but I was able to import it into the Race Studio 3 and compare notes. And the information I found, I would have never known otherwise. I've walked the track with a guy who does much faster track times than me, and that helped me out 2 seconds. I can't have him on the back of my motorcycle to show me, hey, you know what, you don't have the proper RPMs here, proper corner speed. But looking at this data, I can deduce that Ben's speed is, on average, 5 to 3 miles an hour faster than me. Corner speed, 3 to 5 miles an hour faster than me. Let's start from the beginning. On the straight, Ben's going 135 miles an hour versus my 129, my 130 miles an hour. And he holds his top speed for a fraction of a second longer. And then as he slows down, he's still holding higher speed than me. He's braking, still holding higher speed than me, which enables him to hold higher corner speed. So as he's holding higher speed through Duffus all the way to McIntyre, which is this point on the map if you're not familiar with Knockhill, he's just all out holding higher speed than me. That's the nice thing about this program, is that at any point on the track, you can see top speed is for that portion of the track. And his is the same as mine, except for when it comes to McIntyre's. He brakes just as hard as I do. Now, what gear is he in? It would be nice to know engine diagnostics. So what's in second gear or third gear? I believe he's in third gear, especially holding speed for that corner turn, and how it doesn't seem to shift it through this portion. This pre-chicane is where I have the biggest problem. Ben actually turns it seems like he turns it into one straight. Now, I have no clue where Ben picked this up. Did he learn it on his own? Did somebody teach him this? And if you're looking to see what I'm doing, it's almost like I hit the brakes twice. Where him, he gradually increases speed and then gradually decreases speed. Now, when I go over the chicane, I'm just trying to survive so I don't end up like this guy.
Movement there from the... Massive crash. The top move going on.
Going over the chicane it's scary. He's about 20 miles an hour faster than me. Now that I see that it's doable, I'm going to try to hold 10, 15, 20% more power in the throttle as I'm going over that chicane. It gets bumpy. That's the culprit of why my times are so slow. I think the thing to take away from this, unless somebody else watches this and likes to throw some advice at me, Clark's being how Ben is holding more corner speed, I just need more seat time. I need to be aware of the fact that my corner speed is overall slower, and I just need to get it faster. When we get to this point, the straight before the hairpin, he's on a trajectory, which is interesting. It's the point right here where he's accelerating, but he seems to accelerate at a slower pace. He doesn't hit the brakes. He just accelerates slower, which is interesting because if he were to keep that trajectory, he would be going as fast before the hairpin as he would in the main straight, which would mean he would have to slam on the brakes before the hairpin at 135 miles an hour just to prepare for the hairpin alone. If you made it this far in the video, I'm going to reward you with nothing. I appreciate you sticking around this far. It's the non-sexy version of being on the track. If you're this late in the video, you really care about all the analytics. So next on here, I compare my Ducati versus Ben, and that's when I actually match him. I match him for the speed a little bit more because the Ducati just has that much power. And but this is be about 2 months ago, so I hadn't learned my new lines, and I was still struggling a bit. Now I learned new lines. I hold the speed a little better, and I try to keep the gear high and the RPMs high, which is easier said than done. The Ducati matches Ben's BMW a little bit better. But what it also shows is that right before the chicane, this is a mistake I've been making for months, and I've had no way of ever knowing. I would have continued to make the same mistake. Now, if I could have got my corner speed up and just my overall speed up, I would have increased how fast I was going and lowered my times. But this one area right here, right before the chicane, it's something that it would have just held me up, and I would have never known. Now, it would be nice, it would be cool if I can get this timer Aim Solo 2 on somebody fast bike, somebody really fast around the track. Sam, Rory. So in the future, I'm going to do what it takes. If you're watching this video, I'm going to do what it takes to get my timer on your bike. Now, just like how me going to the track and using my camera recording me around my sessions, I'm trying to make it second nature, trying to make it a habit. I'm now trying to use the Aim Solo 2 and get the data onto the Studio 3. This year I've done a pretty good job of recording, not quite all, but most of my sessions. That's the biggest hurdle I've found at being at the track, muscle memory and just memory alone. Getting in the habit of turning on my camera, getting in the habit now of being religious and turning on my Aim Solo 2, my timer. Now moving into the future, when I start moving into cars on the track, and that's right, if you're watching this video right now, if you're this late into the video, my goal is to start migrating into track days with the cars. A lot of this equipment that I'm using right now, the cameras, the Aim Solo 2, the software that I'm teaching myself how to use and analyze, it's transferable to the cars. Also, another thing that popped into my head when looking at the Aim Solo 2 when Ben sent me his files is the Studio 3, the Aim Solo 2 is a good way to compare your times with your friends. That's a little bit obvious, but it's also a good way for you to hop on the track day and say, okay, I'm hopping on the track day August 5th, and I have my Aim Solo 2, and my goal is to do this time. And then all these other guys, like let's say Ben goes out August 5th, and he's like, all right, Steve, I'm going to battle you. I'm going to try and get a faster time with you. Now, him getting a faster time isn't difficult. Me trying to get a fast time, he's going to beat me. So it's just a good way to compete with other people, almost like a time attack, without actually having to do a race. And you know, I don't know, maybe this is the future of actually competing. You know, they have iRacing, you can race in the virtual world, but also at the same time, for going for a track day, you can race against your buddies without actually racing against them. You can't start out at the start line and go, no, but you can go out there and jot down your fastest time and compare with your buddies. Ben is all, hey, look, I got a 54 time, and I'm like, oh great, look, I got a 56 time, so 2 seconds faster. Who's the winner? Granted, this is all just food for thought, and yes, there is a track day August 5th. I don't necessarily have a goal for that day. I should make one. The problem is the weather is potentially wet. In fact, I'm going to check it right now. I'll be right back. Yep, rain is in the forecast. So I have a wet bike, and I have never transferred my Aim Solo 2 to the wet bike. You know, that's the goal. It's not 100 laps this time, 130 laps, 56-second lap times, no. Seeing how the wet weather is coming, the goal is now to see what my baseline time is on my Fireblade 1000 2006 model and see how fast I am on the track in the wet. Yeah, that's my goal. If you're this late in the video, you are a freaking nerd, but thank you, and you should subscribe because you're obviously interested in this kind of crap.